Welcome, everybody. It has been way too long. You are listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. We have a voice lady at Sports Talk, the one and only Cheryl Smith, Goddess Kelli, the Diva of Sports Debate. And we got CJ out of Chicago. Plus, we got a special guest. I'm going to tell you, the brother stepped into the studio. He got some shoes that look like he put that miracle glow up on them because they just dazzling there. And, you know, the brother came in all trimmed and neat and smelling good. You know who it is. That's right. We got David Funky Flores here in the studio live and uncensored. Now, check out the music this week on Shout Out. We are featuring performances from Aria, Nichols. Plus, we got another artist, JazzyD. Where they find their shining star, get the I mean the Goddess Kelli slap you down, cold feel of the mute button. Now, it's time for funny ladies. We want to get our giggle on, but our production assistants, they got thrown off by the time. We don't know the time don't change till Sunday. They trying to hurry up the weekend. But we do, that's right, we do, because we always got back up. I got a joke for you. Now, I love parrot jokes. I'm a parrot joke. I know all the parrot jokes. I watch Whoopi Goldberg. I love her doing parrot jokes. I like parrot jokes. So here's my parrot joke. A burglar got into a house one holiday night. Shining his flashlight on the floor on the dock, he heard a voice say, "Jesus is watching you." He looked around nervously, shook his head, and kept looking for valuables. He heard again, "Jesus is watching you." This time he shined his light all over and it rested on a parrot. He asked, "Did you say that?" The parrot admitted that he had. "I'm just trying to warn you is all, bro." The burglar said, "Warn me, huh? A parrot? Who are you? What's your name?" "Moses." Well, what kind of stupid people would name a parrot Moses? The boy answered, "I don't know. I guess the same folks who would name a pit bull Jesus." All right, like I said, I love parrot jokes. But first, lady, we know we're ready. What you saying?
Fly, little birdie, fly. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping into the future. So I want to fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let the spirit carry me. I want to fly right into the future. The little birdies known as ESPN wish they could fly far, far away from the lawsuit by former ESPN presenter Adrian Lawrence, saying it has a misogynistic and predatory culture. Lawrence accused male ESPN employees of keeping scorecards on female colleagues, openly watching porn on their computers, and making sexually explicit comments about women in front of women. We wonder if ESPN simply needs to hire more women executives, producers, directors, writers, or add Bras, Panties, and Sports to the lineup. Given its decline in viewership, should a more female-centric approach be taken for the future of ESPN? Or should women form their own network? Where's Oprah? Hillary Rodham Clinton, Benazir Bhutto, Sonia Gandhi, and the Steve Miller Band are asking, what you saying? I'm all for the Me Too movement, and I strongly believe in it. I believe that a job is a place where women should be able to come to work and be free of being sexually harassed. Now, the issue with Adrian Lawrence, unfortunately for her, she has a credibility problem, though. Originally she accused John Bougie Gross of unwanted sexual advances back in December 2017. And ESPN, they investigated her accusations, and they found that Bougie Gross did not do anything wrong. In fact, it was interesting that ESPN actually published a text that was exchanged between the two, Lawrence and Bougie Gross. So they said that they had implied that they had a friendship. Now, during the same time when this was alleged, ESPN, they terminated the contracts of Donovan McNabb and Eric Davis because a female reporter at the NFL Network accused them of sexual harassment. That was at the other network, and ESPN followed up on there, and they got rid of them. And so the thing is with Lawrence, ESPN has indicated that she was trying to be bigger than what she was. You know, they actually terminated her contract. They did not renew her contract. And she felt that once she complained about the harassment, that ESPN limited her number of appearances. And, you know, so they feel that she's trying to be this big star and she's trying to take the ESPN down, whatever. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that ESPN doesn't have an issue with culture and sexual harassment. I mean, I'm not sure about that. It's just that Lawrence's credibility is really not that great. I mean, she also accused Chris Berman of sending Jamil Hill racially disparaging voicemail, and Jamil Hill immediately, and we know Jamil Hill because she doesn't bite her tongue for anybody. She immediately discredited what Lawrence was saying. So, and she said it was dangerously inaccurate. So that's a credibility problem. She accused Bomani Jones for staring her up and down in a sexual manner when she was bending down to change her shoes. Now, something like that to me just discredits this whole sexual harassment thing. And I just think Lawrence, for me to consider that ESPN does have a problem, there needs to be some other women coming out in her defense and to corroborate her story. And so far, I haven't heard anybody corroborate her story. As I indicated, Jamil Hill kind of like dismissed what she was saying. And unfortunately, she may be right. There may be a problem because there's a lot of women working at ESPN. A lot of women are working there. And they may have a culture of sexual harassment. But again, like I said, there's just a credibility issue with Lawrence. And but, you know, ESPN, they need to consider hiring more executives, women executives. And let me tell you, I know I can speak on behalf of Goddess Kelli and CJ. We are ready to come aboard ESPN to definitely show our talents with bras, panties, and sports. But hey, let me go to our crew about this. Goddess Kelli, I'm going to start with you. What did you think about this situation?
Well, I mean, first of all, one thing that stands out to me is the line in here saying that ESPN has a misogynistic and predatory culture. Is it ESPN that has that type of culture, or is it our country? We have a president who likes to grab him by the pussy. So, I mean, seriously, who has the problem? Is it ESPN or is it the entire country? This is not an isolated incident. If it's anything that the Me Too and the Time's Up movement has done, is it has shown how widespread sexual harassment is. Now, I do think a lot of women are way too sensitive. They have to understand that, you know what? When men and women work together, people get joking around. Sometimes people get comfortable. You might hear something that might offend you. All you got to do is say, hey, let's not do that again. Don't go immediately going and snitching. Just say, you know what? I don't appreciate that. And then if it continues, that's when you start and you go and make reports. You don't just jump at the first sign of anything that makes you a little bit uncomfortable and say, hey, I just got sexually harassed. You don't do that. That's not how it is. And I think that that's what Adrienne Lawrence, that's her issue. I think she's one of these overly sensitive people who would probably accuse the guy at the checkout line for checking her out when he's looking to see if she's got, you know, only 2 items and he's going to be a gentleman and let her go ahead in line or something like that. I think she's going to be all like, hey, don't be staring at me. That kind of thing. I think that she's that kind of person from everything that we have seen from her. So, I mean, is it a sign of the times? Does ESPN need to be more PC, so to speak? I think a lot of companies are going to have to do something in order to stem this tide of people making these claims, whether they're true or not. They need to be seen to be doing something, or else all of these people out there are going to start their little boycotts and they're going to lose advertising revenue, blah, 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 blah. If it comes down to hiring more women executives, producers, directors, then you know what? More women need to be qualified to be in those positions. We have a lot of women in this country that are looking for special treatments. They're saying, oh, you know what? I have kids. Sorry, I can't work those kind of hours, that kind of thing. But you know what? You have to hire me anyway because I'm a woman. No, that's not how the executive world works. I am sick of being a woman that needs to work twice as hard to get half as much recognition. You know what? ESPN, I don't have kids. I speak my mind. I know what I'm talking about. I am more organized. I can negotiate. I can do anything your men people can do. Give me a shot. I'll be your executive. But some of these other women, don't just put a woman into a role just to kind of make people see that you're taking action. Put somebody that's qualified into the role. That's why I kind of don't like the people saying that companies need to hire more women. No, people need to come. There needs to be more qualified women, and they need to be hired. So let's start at a young age. Let's start training our girls that if they want to be executives, that, you know what, they might have to sacrifice some things. They might have to sacrifice having a family, that sort of thing. So I'm sorry I spoke so long on this, but it's just kind of a soapbox issue for me, so I'm going to shut up now.
All right, well, you said a lot, Goddess Kelly. All right, so
and we know that she ain't sorry for what she said.
I'm sorry I said too long. Not sorry for what I said.
Yeah.
I never apologize for what I said.
All right,
that too.
All right, let's get a male perspective. David Funky Flores, what do you think about this situation and sexual harassment?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, first of all, to say that it's a culture that's predatory and misogynistic, I mean, that's a pretty broad claim. All right, so now you've gone from actually, being able to make specific claims about individual people there to now, okay, you're now going to say that's an entire culture of misogyny and predation, which is, goes back to now the credibility issue that got stated earlier. But here's the thing. I think what ESPN suffers from is this, is you've got ESPN is suffering from a degradation of their product. I mean, when Stuart Scott died, that was a voice of creativity, authenticity, just magic the way that he commentated on sports, when he was with Rich Eisen. And, the Schwam, I mean, he could go all the way. And then, jacked up. I mean, there was just so much creativity and play that they brought to the world of sports that, I think what you've got is a culture at ESPN that is really looking for a breath of fresh air. And the other side of it is you're looking at a country that is politicizing everything. Everything's getting politicized. It's actually quite ridiculous. So, it's like, oh, well, let's look at this through the lens of the political correctness god that has failed us. I'm actually really happy that political correctness is going by the wayside. It's like, I think I call it the pussification of America. I'm offended has become a legitimate argument to do what? To seek big money from people from deep pockets. It's like let's play both sides of the aisle here. Okay. That's the way men power trip with women. Okay, fine. That's, I could see sexual harassment be a way that, men power trip with women. But see, the other side of it is the way women power trip with men. It's all that stuff they do to leave them confused and, kind of wondering, wow, the rules changed and all that stuff. It's the mental domination. See, there's no deep pocket on the other end for that. So, for me, if there's money, if there's a deep pocket goes away, this is just all bullshit.
Okay. All right.
I was listening to that from David Bucky Flores, and you know what? One of the things that I do want to say is this: is that ESPN does not have clean hands in this deal. And the thing is, when you don't have clean hands, then people are subject to make claims, and people are gonna take notice when you don't have clean hands. And I'm with the, and I'm with the goddess that, hey, look, don't don't be just hiring women to be women to meet some measure and all that stuff like that be happening in the first place. Because you gonna be qualified or you gonna be out. But ESPN, I'm gonna tell you why they need to hire more women, because of what David Funky Flores said. Y'all ain't got no creativity. It is just, I'm so tired of seeing old, and did I say old? Goddess Kelly, did I say old?
You said
old ass sportscasters and announcers trying to talk to, I don't know who the hell they're trying to talk to. And I mean, come on. This is 2018. And automatically, I'll put it like this. When you got more women being the boss, a lot of that BS go away. But you do get a different BS. But that BS go away. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, anyway, go ahead, CJ.
Well, I think each of you made some very valid points that I'm not going to go over again. I'm just going to try and highlight on some of them. Like, no matter what a woman has done in the past, if she says something has happened, somebody should take it as a credibility thought. I'm just saying, yes, just because she cried wolf 5,000 times doesn't mean that the 5,001st time means it didn't happen. And this is something that you're laughing about, but it happens so much. That's the reason why the Me Too movement has taken 40 years to actually occur. These thoughts of the Playboy Bunny magazine scenario for Dear Reader is always the woman in the office, secretary, administrative assistant, intern, busty, full-bodied, always sexually looking at them. The female has always been ostracized, for a better word of it, in the office place to be a male's relaxation or recreational play. So just saying that now that somebody is coming out saying, okay, well, no, Me Too, okay, it's Me Too, but it's got to be Me Too for real. That's all I'm saying, is that if it's Me Too, then Me Too for everybody. And one thing that women are going to have to get used to with this Me Too movement is that there's no more ladies first. You got rid of that when you did the Me Too, because a man can't flirt with you and try to get your you-know-what cookies, is the best that I'm going to say it right now, for the exchange of favors and money for nothing anymore. You're going to have to come up to the plate. You're going to have to bring something to the table. And that's what Goddess Kelly is saying. At least hire not a dimwit that's some weather girl that can only say 70 degrees and sunny because she has big boobs, and put her on a sports show. I'm not going to watch it, but the big busty men are going to watch it because she's there and she smiles nice. Not because she has a brain in her head. These things have to be changed for real, and to say ESPN, they should be the start because they were the start of the quote-unquote sports regalia. You got to give them credit for it. They started it. So, I'm not for bashing anybody because something could happen to anybody. I'm just saying make it fair and just don't blame it on, men, and just don't blame it on women, because men and women are going to have sexual intercourse for the rest of time. And it's going to happen in the workplace. Shh, don't tell anybody.
Oh, yeah. Men and females together.
First lady, I just want to say that I am missing out on the sex happening in the workplace. Where do I file my grievance?
There's a lot going on. I mean, that's like. There's a lot going on. How many romances have happened on the workplace? A lot of people have had married people from job romances. So, I mean, it's very difficult. It's difficult now to have a job romance if you want to really think about it because of the situation. It's not a good idea at this time. But anyway, all right, we've had very different views. Let's move on. Goddess Kelly, over to you.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, rocking my peers and putting suckers in fear. making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go boom. Explosion, overpowering over the competition. I'm towering. Wrecking shop when I drop these lyrics that'll make you call the cops. Don't you dare stare, you better move. Don't ever compare me to the rest, that'll all get sliced and diced. Competition paying the price. I'm gonna knock you out. Oh, Mama said knock you out. Oh, we are not talking about Condoleezza Rice, Oprah Winfrey, or Queen Rania of Jordan. We are talking about the knockout punch to the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, having to pay the NFL $2 million for trying to sue them over Zeke. Does this prove the real boss is not President Trump or Vladimir Putin? It is the commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodell. Talk about don't mess with the Zohan. It should be don't mess with the commish. This is truly America being great. An employee is sued by his boss. Not only does your boss lose, your boss has to pay your expenses. Does this put the owners and players on the same side, the side called losing when it comes to Roger? When Goodell turns over the reins, what will be his legacy? Siran Abadi, Christiane Amanpour, also Indira Nooyi are asking, what you saying? What I'm saying about this is everyone has known for years that you don't fuck with Roger Goodell. You just don't. Tom Brady tried it with Deflategate, and Tom Brady is the golden boy of the NFL, and he still had to serve his suspension. So if Golden Boy can't get away with anything with Roger Goodell, you think Jerry Jones, who has tarnished himself so much in recent years with all of the scandals attached to his name, you think Jerry Jones is going to be able to get away with trying to sue Roger Goodell? No. There is a reason why Goodell sounds a little bit like God, because Roger Goodell is the god of football. One thing I know is you don't piss off the gods. Jerry Jones needs to get down on his knees, pay his penance to the god of football, Roger Goodell, say, I'm very sorry, before the owners all get together and decide to kick him out of the circle, because he is on thin ice with everyone. And I'm not just saying that because I'm an Eagles fan, and the Cowboys are the hated enemy. I'm saying that as a football fan, as someone who has watched what the National Football League has done for years, and knows that Roger Goodell is the end-all, be-all voice of what happens in the NFL. He should have known better. It was a waste of his money, a waste of the team's money, but you know what? He's got money to spare, so I guess it really doesn't matter. And you know what? When it comes to Goodell and his legacy, he's going to have the legacy of not being a commissioner, but of being a dictator. We're talking about the guy that has made all of these different rules, all of these different penalties, all of these different fines, and some of them are quite frankly ridiculous. A lot of people started calling the NFL the no fun league. I think when Roger Goodell gets out, we need to bring the fun back to football. That's what I'm saying. First Lady, what are you saying?
Well, I mean, you said it right. Roger Goodell is definitely the god. He's the Dawn. He's the Dawn, because this whole situation really is not about Jerry Jones just paying the fines because of what he cost the NFL regarding the Zeke Elliott lawsuit. It's about Roger Goodell seeking revenge on Jerry Jones for embarrassing him. You know, over the years that Goodell had his contracts renewed, we knew nothing about the sort of details about the contract. All we knew was how much money he was making. Unfortunately, with this latest situation with the lawsuit and then Jones coming out trying to halt the contract, we found out about all the sort of details in the contract. You know, who knew that Roger Goodell was getting all of this? And I just think Roger Goodell had a major problem with it, and so that's why he stuck it to Jerry Jones to make him pay those fees. And, you know, the funny thing about it, you know, when they first broke the story that Jerry Jones was going to have to pay the fees, you heard that Jerry Jones was going to appeal it. He was going to appeal it. Then the next thing I know, and it was really quick, Jerry Jones already paid the darn fees because Jerry realized that he wasn't going to win, because guess who was going to hear his appeal? Roger Goodell. And to be honest with you, that sums up everything about Goodell's legacy. I mean, he is the judge and the executioner. He has an unprecedented control over the owners and the players. I mean, unlike any commissioner in sports, this man controls everything. I mean, when you can't even control the owners, it really shows you how much power he has, to be honest with you. Forget about the players, but he put the owners in their place. So, I mean, what can you say? Roger Goodell is the Don. He is the Don. The Don. He's one of the Corleans from Godfather.
All right, let's take it over to our special guest, Mr. Funky Flores. What do you think?
Well, I gotta tell you this. One of my favorite things to watch, one of my favorite things to see. I tell you, I get so much enjoyment from watching Jerry Jones marching up and down the sidelines when his Cowboys are losing, and he can't figure out why. That man for years, every time I've looked out, and I was like, man, I love watching him on the sidelines get all frustrated and everything like that. Like, why are my Cowboys losing? I dig that. But see, here's the thing. $2 million, that's a traffic ticket to that guy. He doesn't care. But, ultimately, you talk about Roger Goodell's legacy. Yeah, a great deal of that's a dictator. But for me, what's amazing about Goodell is he's a guy that's incredibly out of touch, and you're seeing a culture in America that's no longer viewing football in the same vein as, our parents did or our grandparents did. You're now looking at, you ever heard the expression jump the shark from like Happy Days when Fonzie went and jumped that shark and then that show went all to hell? Well, I think NFL jumped the shark when Mike Ditka went before Congress asking for money to actually fund medical programs for football players. So here's the thing. You got a problem. You got a problem with a forearm shiver these days that's going to, you're going to look like Muhammad Ali doing Decon Foregone commercials in your 60s and 70s and not knowing where you're at. So, you're going to have to start really questioning the relevance of football and all that. So, he's going to go down as a dictator, but he's also going to go down as a guy who lost touch with how do I keep football relevant in a culture that's changing in America. That's what I'm looking at.
All I heard was you hate Jerry Jones and the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So we are now friends. CJ, what did you think?
Oh, boy. Well, I think Goodell is going to go down in as the last dinosaur. He's going to be the one that says, okay, remember when they have a timeline and they said, okay, we started with leather helmets, then we went to plastic helmets, then we went to a protective helmet. Well, it's going to be before Goodell and after Goodell. That's what's going to happen with him as far as his legacy goes. That's what they're going to say. He's a gangster. He's a big gangster. He puts every little gangster. You said the spaghetti eaters? Oh, no. He makes colors look bad. He could beat any color, red, blue, yellow, green, black, and gold. All of them. Because like you said, $2 million is only a traffic ticket. They spend that on lunch. On a good day. They'll be friends tomorrow.
All right. Spitface, what's your take on this one?
Well, one of the things is that I hope that the NFL players realize that, look, dude, if the owners can't go against Goodell and win, stop letting that BS NFLPA waste your union money and time on fruitless attempts to have the commissioner overturn, rule, minimize a decision. It ain't gonna work. As they said, as I said, Tom Brady couldn't do it. The Patriots own it, and they couldn't do it. You don't mess with Goodell. And his legacy, I think, will be that because of his lack of being in touch and being able to come up with a formula that would propel the NFL into the future, that the introduction of the first female commissioner, Condoleezza Rice, will happen. His legacy will be Condoleezza Rice as the NFL commissioner.
I mean, if any woman was qualified to be the NFL commissioner, it would definitely be Condi Rice. I have to say that. But you know what? We have been so serious this morning. It is harshing my buzz. So while I refill my mimosa, CJ, please take us to break.
CJ, can we get a break? Maybe we can't get a break from CJ. But the first two listeners to email us or send us a shout out while the ladies are grouped together will receive a $25 gift card from our partners at NFLshop.com and Victoria's Secrets. Here is your hint. International Women's Day. That is your hint. Stay tuned. Coming up next, we have a performance from Aria Nichols on the first part of Shout Out. I see. That's why. Stop licking your fingers, CJ.
I know.
And free Mr. Barr.
The music flows in and around the globe to get a shout out from the panel. First Lady, I can't wait to hear the music from Aria Nichols.
On Shout Out, we feature new independent artists who are looking to find their shining star. If we like what we hear, we'll give the track a shout out. If we don't like it, we hit the mute. Today, we are featuring music from Aria Nichols and DJ. Let's hear the first track, Temptation.
Sweet boy, here's my invitation. Don't go and leave me standing here. Here's my number and my location. Put your body where it wants to be. Cannot take it when you're next to me. I gotta go along with this sensation. Take my hand, take my invitation. Take my body, take my temptation. Celebration. Gotta know I have no limitations. Hurry up before I fall asleep. I gotta go along with my temptation. Before my buzz wears off, before my love is gone. 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 Gone.
Okay, well, that's Aria Nichols with Temptation. let's go to our panel to see if this song is going to get a shout-out or it's going to hit the mute button. Normally I go to Goddess Kelli first, but my new tradition is every time we have a guest on the show, I'm going to start with them because I really don't want them to be poisoned by Goddess Kelli. So anyway, David, please give me your
Wait, we couldn't get influenced by Goddess Kelli. We had to go straight to poison by Goddess Kelli. Now, look, she got an ego. Now, wait, first lady, she got an ego tattoo, not a black widow tattoo.
That's on my other wrist.
Goddess Kelli is her words. All right, David, what's your opinion about this song?
What's my opinion? Oh my God, put that $2,000 Yamaha synthesizer back in the closet, baby. That's the I was like, oh my God. I hope she's wearing a sexy nightgown to keep me awake because that was a lullaby, baby. I got to hit the mute button.
Oh, wow. My goodness. And I was sitting here worrying about him being poisoned by Goddess Kelli. But anyway, Goddess Kelli, what's your opinion?
I think I have found myself a kindred spirit. Before she can work on temptation, I think she needs to work on enunciation. Like, I mean, was that English or was that the new language they're speaking in the country of Auto-Tunia? Because, you know what, honey, we all know that Auto-Tune is a tool for people that can't sing, but you know what? What Kesha has, what Taylor Swift has, what all these other people that are using Auto-Tune, what they have is they have a catchy song, and your shit ain't catchy. Mute it.
Mute it, right.
Kindred spirit, yeah.
Mute it. CJ, what do you think?
I thought it would be really good if you're doing some exercises with some little kiddies. Radio announcing? No, it can't make it. But it would be really good for a children's show. That's what I was thinking of. No.
For a children's show.
Yeah.
All right, Spitface, what's your opinion?
Well, you know, I was looking at it like, you know, after hearing some of the kind of like, okay, would that be a good exercise track? And I was like, no. No, I don't know. I think it would kind of love me out of exercise, and I want to go sit down somewhere, lay down, and grab me a pillow. I'm going to have to mute it. I think there may be some potential. It sounded like a teaser track, and I don't like to be teased. Well, actually, that's not true, but not in my music. I don't like to be teased in my music. And so the only I was tempted to see if I could get one of them ribs from CJ, but that's about all. I'm in the mute button.
Okay, well, I think we have a consensus here that we didn't like the track, and I mean, nothing more for me to add, because like you said, there was nothing tempting about the song whatsoever. So, Miss Aria Nichols, we're going to have to mute you for this morning, but unfortunately you won't be back for another performance. But anyway, on part 2 of Shout Out, we'll have a performance from JazzyD, and hopefully JazzyD will be just as jazzy. But anyway, is that the sound of my favorite underwater friend? Is it time for Flip?
And we know Flipper lives in a world full of wonder, lying there under the sea.
All right. It is time for Flip It, where our hosts defend, appointed, and flip the script and defend the opposing view. Now, if you're being interviewed for a job and they ask if you prefer anal sex, unless your name is Stormy Daniels or President Trump, the question is inappropriate. Well, that didn't stop an NFL team from asking Darius Gooch if he liked girls, even though the league says that's not permissible. Do NFL teams really need to know the sexual orientation of a player? We asked the panel to flip it. So, defend. Hell no, they don't need to know. If you can play, you can play. Goddess Kelly, defend.
Well, in my opinion, your preferences on anal sex and sexual orientation partners is completely between you and the person that's slipping the roofies into my cocktail. That's how it is, in my opinion. Unless you're coming into my bedroom, you don't need to know what I like. And that's how these players should feel about it. When it comes down to it, this is a very strict employment law taboo. You cannot ask anybody their sexual orientation. You're not allowed to ask people their veteran status. You're not allowed to ask them about disabilities. You can't ask somebody their age. If you can't ask somebody how old they are, you sure as hell can't ask them if they like to take it in the butt on a Friday night. So, hell no. If you can play, you deserve to be in the NFL. It doesn't matter if you like men, if you like women. If it's something that, should be a don't ask, don't tell. That's how I feel about it. So, definitely, NFL, you violated some major rules with this one.
All right, okay, we heard the defense from the goddess, but let's check in with CJ. Hell no, they don't need to know. If you can play, you can play. Defend.
That's the way it's been. Keep it that way. You don't need to know what's going on in those bedrooms because we all know. You talk about anal, they doing some more kinky stuff that we can't even mention on the air in those bedrooms. Has anybody seen the game show before? The one that talks about what goes on after the games or with the players. That show is terrible, having all those things going on at one time. If it's any type of slice of reality, they should keep their mouths shut or they'll be in the news every other week. Don't tell. Just leave it alone. Covers are for covers. That's the reason they're on beds.
Hey, yeah, treat it like you in Vegas.
Like that.
Go on, don't need to be told. All right, David, Funky, Flores, defend. Hell no, they don't need to know. If you can play, you can play.
Well, that's no problem at all. I mean, ask somebody if they prefer anal sex. I like to call that the crinkle wrinkle. That's a little wrinkle about somebody's life that you just don't need to know. So, what they people like with their crinkle? Man, stay away from that. It's none of your business. If you can run a 440, then if you can play, you can play. That's the crinkle wrinkle is out of bounds.
All right, First Lady, defend.
Whether you are a heterosexual, homosexual, metrosexual, asexual, it shouldn't matter when you are playing football. Why should a player be subject to these type of questions? I'm quite sure those same coaches and GMs that are asking these questions, if they were asked those questions during their NFL job interviews, they would have a problem too. They would be outraged by somebody asking them that question. So why are they asking these players these questions? I mean, the NFL just needs to investigate this, and they really need to put these teams and these people that are asking these questions on blast. Because these are ridiculous questions that they should have no business asking a player at the combines. Because you know what? If they continue to ask those questions, you're not going to have players that's going to come to the NFL combines.
All right. On those application forms where they go, sex, and they got the little male or the female, check box, I just always write yes. All right, now we go.
Hey, Spiffface, I got a prediction. I think Crinkle Wrinkle goes national.
Better coin it. Get a patent on it.
I'm glad the show is copyrighted.
Trademark.
You heard it here first, man, on Bras, Panties, and Sports, man. The great Crinkle Wrinkle. Stay away.
We'll see what old school and Slipface do on Bluntly Speaking with that one. Now, we're going to flip this script, because you know this is Flip It. You don't know where these folks really stand on the issue. That's why we're going to flip the script better than Perry Mason, doing his show. The teams, so we're flipping it. The teams have a duty to protect the players. The more they know, the more they can be prepared for what happens, especially with controversial subjects. Goddess Kelli, defend.
I've got a twofold defense on this one. When it comes to interviews at the Combine, what I'm looking for out of a player isn't necessarily that he has the answers that he thinks I want to hear. I'm looking for reaction time. I'm looking to see how he reacts when he is put under pressure. So, asking a controversial question shows you that. It's going to show, a little bit of maybe what he can do on the field. If he's got a split second to make a decision, what is he going to do? The second part of my defense on this one is we all saw what happened with player Michael Sam, the first openly gay player in the NFL, how he was ridiculed, put on blast, slammed on social media, ostracized from the league. We saw what happened there. If this gentleman is indeed gay, that is absolutely his prerogative. He has a right to love and do whatever he wants with whomever he wants. But when you become an NFL star, your personal life is put under the microscope. Those paparazzi, those media hounds, Goddess Kelli, we are going to be all over you, seeing what you do. So this is a way for the NFL to see if he can stand up to that kind of adversity. Is it a legal interview question? Absolutely not. Is it a way to see if he can stand up to that? If it is indeed true? Absolutely. So I think they owe it to him to make sure that he can handle that kind of adversity if he is going to put his life in the public spotlight by being an NFL player.
All right, you heard the defense from the goddess. David Funky Flores, defense.
Well, the NFL's got a product to sell. And something tells me that, look, there's something about being on the NFL, on the football field that's like being on a battlefield. And, they want to know, your teammates, they're your brothers in arms. And they just want to know, look, are you brothers going to be in each other's arms afterwards? Because that kind of ruins the product, the concept we're trying to sell here. It reminds me of when cigarettes it became illegal to actually show people smoking in commercials. And what you got was these concept commercials, right? Like people in the mountains and advertising Salem menthols and stuff like that. The NFL, it's a concept, right? They're selling a culture. They're selling an idea. So, you want strong, brash, heterosexual males. And, they want to know about these things.
All right, we got the defense from David Funky Flores. Oh, man, CJ, I see that he grabbed one of them sausages out the bin there. All right, yeah. Hey, man, here's a napkin here. You was drooling a little bit. But, CJ, defend.
Well, I know, aren't they good, Flores? I tell you, this spice that they put on them is just excellent. Excellent. I've got to write about it next week. I really do. Anywho, getting back to this, the reason why I believe that they have a right to protect the players and so that they can be prepared is because you have to realize that there's a new world coming about. That's the best way that I can put it. And I would hate if I had a daughter that turned to becoming a son, wanted to play football, and then had to defend themselves because they now want to play football. I would hate for it for my son, and God forbid, even if he was, I still love him. Don't get me wrong. But if he was gay and he wanted to play football, then he should be able to play football. The problem with is that the controversial subjects that you say that you're going to have is how we're going to deal with them. And I think that's where we need to start trying to do a little bit better job of protection, is in our feelings and in our compassion of other people's lifestyles and the way that they live their lives. Now, if that means asking the question, maybe it's going to have to be asked sometimes. Like Goddess Kelli said, if you're gay or they're transgender, They're going to have to develop some type of skin because society, especially those 50 and older, aren't going to understand. And they're going to have to be able to present some type of public image in order to continue football as it is, because it is a supposedly all for one and one for all. That's the way I've always thought about it. I never thought about it as being for boys. And I guess maybe because I was the firstborn and my dad treated me as the firstborn, so I learned about sports. You know, my thing was I was upset because I couldn't play. You know, now girls can play, so let them play, you know. So that's how I feel about it. If it's going to become a controversial subject, then at least let the players be protected.
All right. We heard from CJ. Let them be protected. But we get the final word from the First Lady.
Let the players be protected. Hey, these executives are not protecting the players. They're protecting their financial investment on these players. That's why they ask these questions, because they need to protect their investment. So, I mean, the reason why, like Goddess Kelly said, they're asking these questions is not really to find out whether or not the player is gay or not. They just want to know how the player is going to react to that type of question. Are they going to act badly? Are they going to be aggressive or indifferent? I mean, it's a matter of whether or not they can handle this. Can they be caught off guard? You know, what was their true feelings? That's the reason why they ask these raw questions and the way they ask these questions. I mean, you know, like the reporters. These reporters ask you some stupid questions. And when you have interviews, they're always going to put you on off guard. So you really need to be on your tippy toes when it comes to answering these type of questions. Now, let's just look at it this way. When you go on job interviews, most job interviews, especially if you work for the federal government, they're going to give you a psychological test. And you know those psychological tests, they ask you some of the stupidest questions, and then they're going to ask you the same question all different types of ways. This is the NFL's version of a psychological test. That's all it is.
It's all psychological. All right. But it is time for CJ to take us to break.
Stay tuned. Up next, the funnies and our favorite underwater friend on Flip It, Part 2.
Welcome back. You are still listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. It's time for the funnies. So, CJ, over to you.
I think we have something interesting for our listeners. Women's lawsuit alleges injury from drag queen's fake breast. Yes. A woman is suing a Florida restaurant for $1.5 million, alleging she suffered injuries as a result of an encounter with a drag queen performer's fake breast. Meldine Molina's lawsuit against the Hamburger Mary's Eatery in Tampa states she was dining with friends and family members at the eatery to celebrate a friend's birthday in May 2015. Molina's lawsuit alleges she was unaware of the drag show until it became obvious during her meal, and she watched for a short time before turning her back to the stage to eat and socialize with her fellow diners. The suit claims a performer identified as Amanda DeHood pointed at Molina when she turned around again and began to walk towards her table. Molina alleges she turned her back to the performer to signal she did not want to draw attention to herself, but the drag queen allegedly grabbed her by the head and wiggled her breast against the plaintiff's face and head 8 times. Did you hear that? They counted it 8 times, so they liked it. The performer then violently pounded Molina's face against the fake breast up to 9 times. That's 16 times. Come on now, you really liked it because you didn't scream yet. Molina said she felt an immediate headache and neck pain after the encounter and later visited the emergency room at Memorial Hospital, Tampa, for excruciating cervical pain and uncontrollable headaches.
Oh, my God. The woman was attacked by a fake breast. That shameful.
17 times. You liked it. Gosh.
Wait. Is cervical pain a typo? Because I thought, your cervix isn't in your head region.
Cervix is.
That's why the story stood out.
Your cervical. That's your neck. It is your neck. Your cervical vertebrae. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it must be time for our favorite underwater friend. It's time for Flip It.
Yes, it's time for Flip It. All right. Steve Kerr, the coach of the Warriors, says the NCAA should let players declare for the draft, and if they are not drafted, be allowed to return to college play. But what does the panel say? All right, panel, let's defend. Bad idea. This would destroy what is known as team in college sports. Once you leave, you leave. Goddess Kelli, defend.
When it comes down to it, the whole point of college is the fact that you are an amateur. Once you declare for the draft, you are saying, I am going to become a professional. You can't go back on that. You can't turn your back on your teammates if it's your freshman year or your sophomore year, that sort of thing. If you're declaring for the draft, you're saying to your teammates, you know what? I'm better than all you guys. You guys, I don't need you. I can go play for the NBA. And then what you're going to do is when the NBA says, you're not good enough, you're going to turn tail and turn back around and go back to your teammates, you're going to be all like, no, you turned your back on the brotherhood. A team should be a brotherhood, especially in college when it's not about money, when it's about love for the game. I mean, it's about money in the future. It's about free education and all that stuff. But it's love of the game, first and foremost, in college sports. That's why college sports are so popular. And if somebody has basically said that they're willing to turn their back on that, that's going to destroy the camaraderie. And, no, it's a very bad idea. I hate it.
Okay. You said destroy the camaraderie. You leave the team, you say, hey, it's a team game. All right. David, defend.
Well, let me see. So it would destroy the team in college sports. I mean, look, here's the thing. When those guys declare, they're professionals, you're saying I'm leaving. You're saying I'm leaving. So I have a hard time. With this whole thing about how they get paid and bonuses and everything like that in college. I said, well, I think what they need to do is actually just up the amount of little side benefits they get just to keep it attractive for them to stay longer in college. That's what I think they need to do.
Okay. You think make it attractive for them. All right, CJ, defend. This is a bad idea. It would destroy the team in college sports. All right. Well, I think we lost.
I don't know. CJ might
the
have.
The moment that they will is that when they're playing for college, you're supposed to be doing it, like you said, for fun. It might turn into a career, but for many of them, and most of them, it's just going to be a vehicle or an outset to be able to get through college to make a better life for themselves. So in that case, to say we can come back after we've gone to the NFL, no, you can't come back because you did what you did at home. Like you said, I'm grown now. I'm going out on my own. You can only do that at home. Only parents will allow you to come back again. That's the only place you can do it. You can't take someone's money that they just spent on you to give you an education and then say, I want to go to the NBA, and then say, I want to come back. No.
Okay. Spitz-faced, this is a real bad idea. Defend.
I'm just going to say Brutus, Judas, and Benedict Arnold.
Okay.
All right.
That's all I got to say.
All right. Well, I'm going to say it's obviously, once you lose your amateur status, I mean, you can't just come declare and go back to the college. I mean, you've already declared yourself. More than likely, you hired a agent and you probably took some money. So, I mean, really, that would not be fair. It would, circumvent the whole amateur system. And I just think once you declare yourself for the draft, you declare yourself for the draft. I mean, if you don't make it, there's other alternatives. You don't have to go back to college. You can go pro. You can go pro in an international league. You can join the G League. So there's other ways for players to develop themselves if they don't make it the first time around and they are undrafted. So that whole notion that Steve Kerr was talking about, that's just a bad idea. All right, this is Flip It. So that's where we're going to defend the opposing point of view. Great idea. They could return to school with a strong commitment to their education and future. David, defend.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is I don't see why they couldn't do that. I mean, the biggest draw to actually leave the team is they actually got to discover that there's just as many white chicks that want to get all over NBA players as there are that want to get all over the NCAA players. So once they realize they just get bigger problems, they don't get picked for the team, they can go back and play and say, hey, you guys, stick around here and get your education. It doesn't get any easier out there.
Okay. Well, David had another different point of view. All right. Goddess Kelli, that's a great idea. Defend.
I mean, it actually, if you think about it, it is a great idea. One of the big criticism of allowing players to declare straight out of high school is that they're coming into this money and stardom before they have the maturity to deal with it. So if the NFL, the NBA sees a player that they don't want to draft because they don't have the maturity, they don't have the fundamentals, allow them to go back to school to get those skills, and then next time maybe they will be more mature and more ready to handle the larger responsibilities of going to the NBA. And when it comes down to it, the average male's body, and I've studied a lot of males' bodies, but the average male body doesn't fully mature until the early 20s. So a lot of these kids that are declaring early, not finishing their college education, they still have not just personal growth, but physical growth to go through. So, you know what? If they're not ready then, they might be ready after they come back. And this allows them to have a fundamental for the future if after college they don't make it. Now they've got a college education.
Okay, Goddess Kelli says you study a lot of men's body. All right.
I'm glad that's what you took from that, First Lady.
CJ, defend. This is a great idea.
It is a great idea because, these are some young people, and this might be a way to be able to soften their behavior and to change it without causing it to be detrimental for their lives forever. Maybe they go to the NBA, maybe they don't make it so well, or they get in a little trouble. Well, instead of slapping them on the wrist and telling them they're banned forever, make them go back to school. Make them get a degree. Make them do something productive with their lives instead of just throwing them to the outcast of the newscasters and talking about them so badly that they end up in a bottle or on drugs or in the alley somewhere talking about what they used to be and how they were on a basketball team about to make $1 million and now they're toast. So
hey, CJ, don't be talking about my relatives on the sly.
I was trying to be nice here. I didn't even bring it up. I was just saying as an example. And they said it could be a do-over. It could be a great do-over, especially for some of these older cats that, they don't have anything going for them but the basketball. After that, they're toast. They need to go back and get some skills because if not, the way this country's going, they're not guaranteed they're going to be able to be taken care of.
All right. Very good, CJ. All right. Spitface, you want to comment on this great idea?
It's a great idea, and we do have to remember that what they're talking about is players declaring for the NBA draft that don't get drafted. And I think it's a great idea because, one, they will learn that you don't need to be listening to everybody. Because somebody done told them that they NBA talent now, and they weren't. And having the opportunity to go back to school and get that, you know what, maybe you will be, maybe you won't, but maybe I need to get what I can get from where they do appreciate my talents. So sometimes that little bit of humbleness can have you be more determined the second time around. That's all I'm saying.
That's all you're saying. Well, I think it's a great idea, but I have to put a little restriction with it because they just can't be flipping-flopping going back to school. Okay, I'm going to try it this time. If I make it, that I don't make it, then I got to go back to school. But if they go back to school, they have to go back to school for a number of years before they can come back and be eligible again for the draft. Because if you do it that way, then you know what? You may not have so many one and dones because people would think about it twice before they would leave to go to the NBA because if they know they have to go back and they can't come back out until their junior year. So I think that strengthens the NBA and it strengthens the college basketball. So you know me, I got to put some restriction with it. I have no problem with athletes leaving and being able to go back, but you just can't be flip-flopping. So that's how the system needs to be. Anyway, speaking of some systems, Goddess Kelly, you got some good jambalaya for me?
I have got a real spicy jambalaya this morning. This is going to be a good one, so here it comes. Women sometimes make fools of men, but most guys are the do-it-yourself type. So, Cal, I want to know, how does this quote relate to President Trump's lawyer paying a porn star to be silent about Donald screwing around while Melania was pregnant and complaining because Donald will not pay him the money back? CJ, I want to start with you on this one. I love your opinions on 45, so let's start with you.
And you know this. Game is game, nothing but game. He got chumped. I mean, come on. He should have known better in the beginning. First rule of nature. Get it up front, at least half. Come on now. I don't care if it's $2 or $2 million. The deal is, I'm protecting you. I got your back. And you didn't get nothing up front. You snooze, you lose.
All right. Let's go to our guest.
Cry all you want to over that spilled milk. But the kid is wrong.
David Funky, what do you think about this one?
What I think about it, I think this is the man's last grasp at getting some money back. It reminds me. You remember who was that cat that wrote in his book or in that article that Michael Jordan owed him like $500,000 in bets that he well stung when they were playing golf? And didn't Michael Jordan eventually pay him? So you know, I think maybe he's taking a page out of that guy's book here, like hoping to get his money back.
All right, Spitface, what do you think?
Well, one thing I've been just trying to figure out, how come if you rich and famous, you still got to pay for some pussy? I kind of thought that being rich and famous meant that, that you would, women would be attracted who'd want to have sex with you, not that those are the women you need, not that those are the women you needed to be messing around with. Because if it's that easy, you may not want it, But I'm just going, you know what? I am just mystified how Donald Trump does not pay people. And how people know that he don't pay people and they still do stuff. So I'm kind of wondering, but no matter what, he still ain't on Roger Goodell's level. I don't care how many Air Force Ones he got. Goodell got it.
All right, let's be fair, though. It's not that Donald Trump paid for pussy. He paid to keep the pussy silent. I mean, I'm not saying she's a gold digger, but First Lady, what did you think about this one?
Well, I mean, Spitface just basically took what I was going to say because that's Donald Trump's M.O. And the funny thing to me about it, his lawyer was stupid. He probably represented Donald on a lot of those lawsuits because he didn't pay his contract. So, I mean, he should have known. That's Donald Trump's M.O. He never pays people. They got to sue him. So I guess that's why his lawyer is suing. His lawyers need to go and sue him. That's all I can say.
When it comes down to it, though, I'm going to defend Donald Trump on this one, and I don't think I've ever done that. He was having the lawyer pay to keep the porn star silent. But you know what? The porn star wasn't silent because here we are talking about it. So obviously this lawyer didn't pay enough. So why should he pay silence money when there was no silence? But on that note, we're going to take some radio silence so we can digest this jambalaya. So CJ, take us to break.
On the other side of the break, we have another performance from Chad Focus Arrington on Shout Out Please stay tuned.
Oh, CJ, we accidentally didn't correct. Actually, we got JazzyD. Please stay tuned. Or do something.
You are listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. It's time for Shout Out Part 2, the picks and the finale. The music flows from around the globe to get a shout out from the crew. Goddess Kelli, over to you.
We have got a performance from JazzyD, and you guys know how much I love the D. So let's hear Sweet Light.
A picture-perfect world seems so far away. I know you could make those gray skies turn blue if I wanted you to. So baby, I'm on my way. I hailed a cab with your sweet face on my mind. Traffic standing still, today just ain't no friend of mine. Oh, I'm rushing towards ya, I'm looking for ya. So baby, come and be mine. Your kisses like the blue skies, be my sunshine. Come and hold me close under the moonlight. Fill me with your light. Let me feel my sweet light. Don't you know you're my sweet light? Ooh. A block away and I can almost feel your touch. I can't stand away, you know I've got to have your love. Your smile it moves me to give you all of me. Baby, I'm a fool for you. You're the kind of man that sets this woman free. I need you here next to me. You are my light, my light. You know you're my only one. Oh, no, no, no. sunshine, oh, the love of my life. You are my sweet life.
All right, that was Sweet Light. Let's find out if the track's going to get a shout out or get the mute. And apparently, since I poisoned guests, let's go first to David Funky Flores. What did you think of Sweet Light?
You know what? I like the harmonizing. I like how she reminded me a little bit of Anita Baker. I like how she actually brought the vocals. I could actually, I really like the sexiness of the saxophone, right? But here's the thing. It was probably about 30 seconds too long for me. But you know what? I'm not going to count that against her. For me, all in all, that was some panty busting, pelvic thrusting, good sex me down music. I'm going to give her a shout out.
All right, so we have the guest like in the chat. Here is my opinion. JazzyD to me is like the sweet and it shouldn't be sweet light. It should be sweet and low. Just 1 calorie, not quite jazzy enough for me. And just like Sweet and Low, if this track was played in California, we'd have to put a warning label on it saying that it might cause ear cancer. So, yeah, I didn't like it, like you said, and I've never said this about anything with D in the title. It was way too long. I was falling asleep, so I am muting it. First Lady, what did you think?
Well, actually, I'm going to shout it out. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very JazzyD, and it was jazzy, and I enjoyed the vocals of the artist, so I liked it. I'm shouting it out.
CJ, what did you think?
Well, it was a little long. She needed more vocals instead of more bridge. Other than that, it was really good. I liked her. And I could have produced better.
What did you think, Spitface?
You know me, I'm coming from a hip place, and that glow on David Flores' shiny shoes has been shining them. I had to throw my shades on, but I'm giving it a shout out. I liked it.
All right. Well, that is the end of shout out. If you liked what you heard earlier from Aria Nichols, you can check her out at arianichols.com. That's ARIANICHOLS.com. And if you liked what you heard from JazzyD, you can check her out at JazzyD.net, spelled just like Jazzy with a letter D.net. And if you would like to be heard or you have any comments, you can send your emails and your tracks to Panties at oldgrumpyradio.com. Now it's over to the First Lady for the picks.
The hardwood picks will be starting with the final 4, so stay tuned. Let's see if CJ will retain her crown. All right, CJ, we'll see if you will get that crown again. All right, it's time for our panel to give their outrageous predictions. I'm going to start with CJ. What's your outrageous prediction, CJ?
My outrageous prediction is that the Williams sisters are going to announce that they're going to start a sports network channel on Comcast, and we're all going to be invited to be guests for the grand opening.
Okay, that'd be nice. Goddess Kelli, what's your outrageous prediction?
My outrageous prediction that Howie Roseman is going to trade Nick Foles for 5 first-round draft picks and a stake in the world domination play game.
David, what is your outrageous prediction?
Well, my outrageous prediction is that Crinkle Wrinkle is going to go national and will likely be a bumper sticker here probably within 30 days.
I haven't really thought about it.
All right.
Crinkle Wrinkle. All right. Spitface, what is your outrageous prediction?
My outrageous prediction is that the Cleveland Browns have made the kind of moves where they will have a winning season.
Hey.
A winning season.
My outrageous, speaking of winning, my outrageous prediction is Tiger Woods is back. That's my
Oh,
outfit.
no, you did that to bring him back. You just couldn't help yourself. Your boo is back.
My boo is back. Okay.
Yours and everyone else's boo.
Too many of them.
He's not fooling anybody. That's the reason why he's able to play golf again.
Okay, moving along. March is National Women's History Month, and March 8th was International Women's Day. We celebrate the accomplishments of women around the world. This world was built on blood, sweat, and tears of a woman. Congratulations to all the women of the world. Goddess Kelli, how can listeners check you out on other broadcasts?
Well, you can hear me live, unscripted, uncensored, and unapologetic on my other two shows. On Friday nights, getting your weekend started, we have got The Red Zone with Kelli and Rashawn. We bring the sexy back to sports. And then on Monday nights, we have Around the Red Zone, where we are bringing the sexy back to sports debate. It's a brand new show. We're going to be tackling the hot topics. We're not afraid to go there, so check it out. It's a roundtable style show. And you can follow our shows on Twitter at The Red Zone Live. You can listen live at blogtalkradio.com/momentumshift. You can check me out on demand on my sponsor website. That's going2.com/momentumshift. Like I said, on demand all the time there. You can follow me on social media. I am on Facebook. I am on Twitter. It's KELLIERUTTAR. So find me and follow me because I am awesome.
Okay. Visit CJ on Facebook, Sabor. That's SABOIRE. She's on Instagram and Twitter. David Funky Flores. Anything about your businesses you would like to share?
Yeah. I was just, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm actually creating a web-based product. One of the things that my business addresses is how to answer the question, what does it cost in a standardized manner and as instantaneously as possible for basically over-dimensional cargoes. So if you've ever been going down the road and you've been stuck behind a semi and they've got, escorts and pilots and cops and you can't get around it and stuff like that, that's a very particular kind of service in trucking. And I'm out to provide a pricing service that answers the question, what does it cost, very quickly, because people spend hours trying to figure out and get good rates for what does it cost to actually send this monstrosity down the road. So you can email me at david@sentium.net. That's david@sentium.net. Thank you.
Okay. Well, first of all, we also like to thank you for being on the show, David Funky Flores. We enjoy you tremendously. You can check me out at Cheryl Smith at First Lady of Sports. Please visit our new website, BrasPantySports.com, where you'll find links for each of us and original episodes, The Bearskin Lounge with Dizzy Mac. Please enjoy the performance at the end of the show. This has been Cheryl Smith, CJ, Goddess Kelli, David Flores, and Spitface. You have been listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. It's a wrap. See you next week.